Hello and welcome to a new episode of Car Lube TV. As you can see behind me, this is the new car for the channel. This is my new 2016 VW Scirocco R. And obviously we've had a Scirocco on the channel before. This is the upgrade. And I'm looking forward to doing lots of modifications to this car. I'll be doing various things and I will be directed by perhaps subscribers or actually suggesting things in the comments below. What would you like to see me do to this car? For those of you that are not familiar with this car, this is the flagship model of the Scirocco. It's the facelift 280 horsepower TFSI engined Scirocco. It's the best one they did, and for me, I've got this one in grey. This is the colour I wanted. This is, for me, the best colour for the car. I'm enormously happy with it. And as you see it sitting here right now, it's not completely as I got it. Let's have a look around the car and I'll show you some of the details. Let's start our walk around from the front, shall we? On the front, you'll notice on the R model, and again the facelift model, there's a much more aggressive styling to the front end. You do have the xenon headlights, cornering lights as well in here. Also the LED indicators are just here. All of the vents are black, they're nice and gloss black all across the front there. The main difference that you had with the old one that I had was all grey and looked quite matte, and it was not particularly pretty to look at. We got the R badge on the front there. Have thought about taking that off. Currently we have chrome badges on the front and the rear, and actually I changed them to gloss black ones on the old Scirocco, but I think I'm probably going to keep these ones silver for the time being. They go quite well with the wheels and the wing mirrors as well. No splitter on the front of this one, and there's a good reason for that. One is I've not installed one, and two, I am actually thinking twice about having a splitter on the front because the old one was ruined quite quickly by hitting the road, so I may not change those. So going down the passenger side, we can see we've got the 19-inch Cadiz alloys. I think that's how you pronounce them. And they're okay. They're diamond cut and black. Little bit dirty at the moment. The car's actually not that clean. I do apologise for that. We got the R brake calipers on here in black. They're looking a bit rough and tired actually, so perhaps they need a little bit of a refresh. Of course, I mentioned before that we've got the sort of aluminium, sort of brushed aluminium finished wing mirror caps on here. Like them actually. I had the Batwing black gloss plastic covers on the old car, and I've taken them off the other car, but I haven't installed them on this one. We've got side skirts. These side skirts here are on all of the facelift model R models, I believe, and a lot of the R line models, and I think it's a nice addition, which of course my last car didn't have as well. Big addition, big upgrade for me is these rear lights. These are the facelift LED rear lights, which I think look really, really good. I'll give you a little display of what they look like when they're on. These are all LED strips, and they're a big upgrade from the last ones that were on the pre-facelift Scirocco I had. You might also notice there we have some fat exhaust pipes. That's a valved exhaust back box. Ordinarily, this pipe is only used when the car is in sport mode, and that will then bypass the whole of the back box. The one on the right is the standard sort of normal running one, and it's usually got more carbon on it. They're both fairly dirty at the moment. We've got the R designation badge on the back there as well, and the silver badge on the tailgate. This is actually the handle for opening up the boot, which is different from the last car. That was fixed before. The rear spoiler, you might notice, you might remember the cup spoiler I had on my old car. I'm just trying to work out if to put that on here or not. Perhaps you could say in the comments below if you think that is better than this one. A big difference on this one is it has actually got a bit of a lip on it, which the pre-facelift car doesn't have, which is quite nice. I know a lot of people tend to put a little spoiler on the top there. You've got the fake vents in the bumper there. I think they look quite nice, but they're as fake as they come. There's no light through there. Parking sensors on the back, and a gloss I don't know if you'd call it a diffuser or not actually, because there's nothing there, no fins or anything like that, and that's something that perhaps needs changing. Perhaps again you guys can suggest a nice one I can put on there. And the bodywork on this car is pretty good. I mean, it's been kept very nicely by the previous owner, and it's a well-maintained car as well. Now shall we have a look under the bonnet? Under here you'll just see the standard TFSI engine, the same engine they put in the, I believe, the Audi S3 and TTS, perhaps other cars as well. This is something that I want to address. This big air cover on the top here, it needs to go, and we need an air filter. Stepping inside here, you'll see the gloss black on the steering wheel. I really like that with the R logo, which deserves to be there. We've also got the blue dials and the white background. That's a massive upgrade from the last car I had. And also we've got the pods at the top here. Now these have on the right a turbo boost gauge, and then an oil temperature gauge, and then a lap timer. I'm not sure that's really worthwhile having, but it looks nice. It's nice to have extra dials on the car. It is a DSG, and as you can see here, this is all in good condition. Gear knob, I changed that on my last car, and actually I might do it on this one as well, because that's the only thing there that is starting to show a bit of sign of age. Again, on the interior we've got the trims. I made my trims black by wrapping them on the old car, and this one's got a sort of embossed carbon fibre effect look on them. We have the black gloss on the door handles as well. Again, I wrapped my last ones black, and these ones don't need doing because they're already black. This car has got the Comfort Sport DCC suspension system on it, which is great. Although I did have some failures on my last car, and let's hope that doesn't happen again on this car. The one option I didn't manage to get on this car was the folding wing mirrors. I don't know why so little people ordered that when they were new, but I am going to be looking to do some sort of a retrofit here. You can tell the ones that have got the electric folding wing mirrors because there's a little emblem there on the switch. So I'm going to be looking, and if anyone can help me with this, I need to buy the wing mirrors and the modules, and I believe the switch as well. If anyone has that, I believe they're the same on the Passat CC. That's the only car I know that has the same wing mirrors. So if anyone can help me with that, that would be really helpful. Now, the keen-eyed of you might already notice that this car is sitting a little bit lower than normal. That's because something has already happened. What I don't want to cover with this build is the same things I did on the old car. And this car is currently sitting 35 mils lower than standard. And it is also sitting on 20 mil spacers on the front wheel and 20 mil on the rear wheels as well. Now I did cover that. I'll put a video link above of when I fitted those to my last car. So if you do want to do that to your car, it's probably a good idea to have a look at that video. But it makes the wheels more flush to the wings, as these cars are incredibly high up, and also the wheels are very recessed. I'll show you some video now of what this car looked like when I picked it up, and I'm hoping that you'll agree. It looks miles better, sitting slightly lower to the ground. Another modification I've already carried out as well is in the boot. And again, I'll put a video link above for when I put this bass box for extra bass in the boot of my car. This has just been installed, my Alpine 12-inch subwoofer that makes a bit of noise with a Pioneer amplifier on the back there. That's also mated to my Eon head unit, and the keen about you might have seen that already as well. And again, the Eon head unit, it's such a big display, and it comes in this sort of lovely gloss as well. Turn that down. And it really matches the gloss fascia on the dashboard there as well. So really happy with that. Main reason for that is because everyone wants Apple CarPlay these days, and this does all of that on there as well, which is fabulous. Again, I've done a video on the install of this head unit already. I will put a video link at the top there so you can go and watch that video of the installation. It's plug and play and it's great. I always did mean to do a review video of this head unit, and I never got round to it. So at some point I do intend to do that as well. Now it's in the new car. One more modification that's already been carried out is I have put some paddles on there as well. They're just the stick-on variety. They're not particularly expensive. I bought them on AliExpress, I believe, and I just stuck them on. And I think it's nice to have that extension of the paddles on there in a faux carbon fibre. Last modification that I've already done, again, the keen-eyed might have already noticed this, is I have put my eyebrows from my last car on the headlights as well. Again, a little bit more aggression. I think these black accents go very well. Modification wise, my plans are at the moment that the car is looking great. However, I would quite like some side skirts on it, perhaps some Maxton ones, maybe some on the rear bumper as well as a diffuser. That I think would look really nice as well. Also want to get an exhaust for it. I'm going to go with, I potentially think at the moment, a mid-pipe resonator delete. Reason being is because I actually do like having a valved exhaust. This car is not boomy at all when you're on the motorway, which my old car did suffer from quite a lot, and that had a back box delete. I would like to get this car tuned as well. I would like to get some sort of an air filter for it, and also perhaps a remap, get a bit more power and punch out of it. So again, any advice you guys can tell me, what you've done to your cars or what's worked well, what hasn't worked well, then perhaps can you give me some advice in the comments, and we'll try and bring them to the channel in the future. Just to finish off this video, I'm going to give you a demonstration of what this car sounds like standard from the back. I'll give it a few revs. Do bear in mind it is a standard car at the moment, and then we'll get it out on the road and give it a little bit of a test. We've already seen from the outside how pretty this car is, but I'm now going to try and give you some of my driving impressions. I am going to draw on some comparisons with my other Scirocco, which most of you, if you're familiar with my channel and the Scirocco playlist, would know it's a 2-litre TSI GT. Something I wasn't expecting when I purchased this car, the R does immediately feel like a completely different car to drive. I guess mostly down to the powertrain. As I mentioned, this car has a 2-litre TFSI engine, which can also be found in Audi's S3, TTS plus Mark 6 Golf Rs. It produces a completely different sound to the one I've been used to. It's 70 horsepower up on my GT, but on the road it's the mid-range agility that's most noticeable, a much more effortless progression of thrust. Moving on to suspension, this is very similar with both cars sharing most of the same components, including the electronic damper control. Stock for stock, the R does sit 10mm lower. Obviously, both of my cars are lowered, so that difference is negated. But noteworthy is, my normal preset on my GT is sport mode, whereas in the R, it's normal mode. In my opinion, both cars feel the same in those respective modes. Perhaps this is down to the girthier anti-roll bars on the R. One characteristic on the R, which also accounts for why I don't drive around town in sport mode, the weighting up of the steering wheel, which also happens in sport mode, feels quite heavy and unnatural. You will then notice the brakes are more assertive, giving much stronger stopping power. The brakes are actually different on the range-topping R. Up front, the calipers still only being 1 pot, but noticeably larger. The discs are increased in size from 312mm to 345. Whilst on the back, solid 255mm discs are increased to 310mm vented discs. And in this case, the size does matter. Traction in the R is noticeably improved compared with the GT. With the GT, it was very easy to break traction being aggressive with it, whereas in the R, it puts its power down very effectively due to its XDS electronic slip differential. This is definitely a big benefit on the R. Now moving on to some negatives, and there's nothing really to report here apart from the aspects of the car which can be improved with modifications. On my GT I have a cheap cone air filter which produces satisfying turbo whooshing sounds, whereas in the standard R, as I'm sure you'd have already noticed, there is, although I guess a more efficient induction, it is relatively muted. Also related to sound and the theatre of the car, although there are two fat exhausts poking out the back of the R, it is relatively silent, whereas in the GT it had a back box delete which amplified the DSG farts, which in the R you really have to listen out for a faint sound. In conclusion, the negatives I've just mentioned can be fixed, and they will be, but it hasn't taken much seat time in this R to start loving it. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed that video. That was me just showing you the new car for the channel. Like I said, lots of modifications planned for it. Get subscribed so you don't miss out on any of the action, and I hope to see you on the next videos. Cheers.